Hello everyone. In this video I'll be trying something new. Especially I'll be trying something different this time. Instead of, explaining every step, I'll just try to, have a more unscripted session. A little bit more chill. Or you can watch me speed paint J.K. Simmons. Of course, I started off with a rough sketch, followed by a more refined sketch. This video is gonna be more casual. Just me yapping about. So, as a brand new channel, I'm still trying to make it grow and try to direct it towards something that's, sustainable. Because up to a certain point, you can't really teach everything. Where, I myself am, a self-taught artist, and I don't really have no full 100% understanding of art, because art is such a broad field, and I'm just trying to take my time, trying something new. Although, this portrait, I'm still using my old methods, trying out several different brushes that I've used in the past, and as well as like one new chalk brush, which I saw on Krita, which I thought was really cool, as it resembles somewhat of a skin texture, which I'll be using later for the highlights. Also, how are you guys doing, these days? What I've struggled recently is that I feel like I haven't progressed as much in terms of art. So I want to try something new as well, because I've seen several different artists have specific styles, and I'm trying to have my own, because I currently don't have one as of yet. That's why in the next video I'll try my best to find an art piece done by an artist and try to see what I like about it, and maybe try to implement that over to my piece, so that I have my own identity, instead of having to rely solely on realistic portraits and doing having the same render style over and over again. I want to try something different. Learning portraits can take a significant amount of time. For this piece in particular, it took me about 4.5 hours, I think, and I still feel that there's something about it that's missing. I also use several layers so that I can keep them organized, but sometimes if you have too many layers, you can get overwhelmed. That's why I try my best to label them as well. Especially when it comes to art styles, I feel like my brushstrokes aren't as visible or as confident as other artists, as you can see in this picture. Try to develop my own art style. Sorry for repeating what I said earlier. Just trying to emphasize that I'm still not satisfied with my current level of art, because I feel like I still don't have my own identity. Sure, because drawing certain things from reference could only get you so far. If you can't produce things on your own or have your own style, then you're not gonna stick out from the other artists. As I said before, this will technically not be a tutorial. It's just gonna be me yapping about, tell you guys what I've been up so far. And oh yeah, I'm also thinking of, since this channel won't purely be illustration or concept art focused, maybe do something else in the future. Maybe I don't know, some visual effects, video editing, or maybe mostly graphic design, as I'm starting to consider of focusing more on that. If I do eventually get bored of doing illustrations. Yeah, I've always wanted to, get good in portraits, and I'm still not quite there yet because, different people have different strengths. Also, I always find myself either listening to music or, listening to podcasts when I'm doing, long hours of painting. What about you guys? A short version of this video will be posted on TikTok and Shorts, but without my voiceover, just to show the speed painting process. While in this version, I'll just gonna be yapping about. What I find difficult is that you're trying to make the skin details as accurate as possible, because an airbrush could only go so far. And I would like to point out that sometimes I focus on the skin too much. I kind of forgot to render the eyes in this point, as well as the lips, which I will be finishing in the end. Because I don't know, I feel like painting skin is pretty fun compared to, or rendering skin for that matter, pretty fun compared to other things. Because skin can be smooth and rough. Here goes for the eyebrows with a detailed brush. I think in total I used about 4 to 6 brushes. Yeah, around that range. Once you think it's done, and then you look back at your painting, it feels like it's still unfinished now. That's why I added this new overlay layer, which everyone likes to talk about, because it's it's there in real life. You can see it. It's called the subsurface scattering, which makes the skin look pop out even more, especially when exposed to sunlight. But in this case, I try to minimize it, try to not make it too exposed. The next one, I try to add the reflective lighting, which is a slightly lavender-ish, which is right behind the shadows, the deepest, darkest shadows, as you can see here. In art, especially in painting portraits, if you're trying to go for a more realistic style, you don't need line art. The line art and reference sketch, or sorry, refined sketch for that matter, is just there for you as a guide to border on which sides are the shadows and which sides or which portions are the highlights, stuff like that. As you can see, I used a different brush, a charcoal brush, for this highlight, and I just add some more details, which I love doing, by the way. I love doing the details. It's the starting process that makes it quite boring, in my opinion. But once you have the patience to go the extra mile, the extra hour, I'd say it's worth it. And here I try to adjust the base skin tone, because I feel like it's a little bit too bright and less saturated enough. Just play around with Control U in this case. I feel like it's also the same shortcut for Photoshop, but whatever. As long as you can adjust the hue, saturation, and value of the layer, it's going to be pretty easy. And now for the suit, blazer, whatever. As you can see, when I tap, sometimes you can see that someone is talking on a podcast. That's because during the recording, I would always listen to podcasts like Wild Times, sometimes Trash Taste, and there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video about me rambling while I do the speed painting digital process in the background, and I hope to see you in the next video.